Hey, what's up, guys? It is the Cypher Slacker, and we are going to be looking at the extended deck profile for Raidraptor. So this is going to kind of cover the game plan of the deck, as well as some of the ratios. So first off, we're going to discuss a card known as Raidraptor Tribute Lanius. This is your deck's main normal summon. On summon, this mills a Raidraptor card, which there is a one-card combo where you can use this to mill to get an extender. But if you have an extender in hand, you want to use this to mill a trap card so that you can later on recover it in the combo. This is kind of part extender, part normal summon, all in one. So if you have Raider's Wing, you can detach a material from an Xyz monster, and then you can special summon it out. That monster cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects. That's pretty good. That's pretty solid for this deck. Not really, much else to say about that. We've got Bloom Vulture, which kind of acts as a special summon. I don't know. It's not like a circular. I'm trying to think of like what this could be. Because you special summon this, maybe like Crosskeeper. It's like a Crosskeeper-esque card, similar, but you special this out, and then another level 4, and then you have a rank 4. So it's genuinely a pretty solid piece of support, and I quite like this card actually, just because you can essentially use it, get something else out, make a Force Strix, and then you can get right into Tribute Lanius. So a lot of interesting things you can do with that card. Strangle Lanius. This actually came out of the Phantom Rage support, which was half Raidraptor, half Phantom Knights. So this is kind of, I think it's supposed to be an extender for both. But here, I think this was made originally to replace Fuzzy Lanius. However, now you can play the deck purely, which brings back Fuzzy Lanius. But this allows you to special summon a Raidraptor from Grave if you control an Xyz monster that has a Dark Xyz monster as material. So that could be kind of good. Really just, this is a good extender, but you don't really want to open with it because you want to use that recovery later on in game. Fuzzy Lanius. So this is one that was cut for a while because, a lot of people weren't playing pure. So completely understandable. When there's, better things available, you're going to play that. But now we can play pure. So Fuzzy Lanius, in my opinion, I played this at 2 at first, but I really like this at 3 because it's a good extender. It's, you can pitch it. It's nice to have multiple copies, and there's really not much else to say about it, but solid extender. Noir Lanius. This card was like one word away from being absolutely broken because it has to search a monster that is not level 4. So let me say that again. It has to search a monster that is not level 4. So this could have been like the most busted card ever because you normal summon and search a Raidraptor. That right there would have been one card combo, which is why I'm sure they completely avoided that like the plague. But notice that all of these Raidraptors are being played at 2 or higher. Vanishing Lanius. So this is basically Bloom Vulture, but you use your normal summon to get it out. This is something that I did consider cutting, but at the same time, if this gets negated, odds are I probably have an extender in my hand anyway. So my opponent just wasted an Imperm or Veiler, which if you're playing against Raidraptor, you're going to want to save that shit for something else. Because if you hit this, like if you Imperm or Veiler this, and they have the Fuzzy, then you can go, they can get out the Link, they can get out the Xyz, they can get out the Raider's Knight, they can get out the Brave Strix, like you really want to save it. So that's kind of why I started playing this card again, because I'm like, unless I'm playing a completely brainless idiot, you should not hit this card. You know what I'm saying? because odds are, with the amount of extenders in this deck, they probably open an extender. 2 Mimicry. This is, honestly, if you open this in extender, you can make it level 5 and go straight into Brave and just combo off from there. So this card is actually pretty nice. Pretty nice. Not much else to say about that. It's mostly you banish it from grave and then you search Roost. That's pretty much its primary function. This guy, this is something that I recently added to the deck. I was playing this way back in the day. Way back in the, the pre... God, I think it was pre, like, Master Rule 5 days. It revived. I can't remember which one it revived. It revived one of the older skip forces so I could get into Arsenal Falcon. That was before Arsenal Falcon was even released. I remember playing that online. But listen, this card is going to revive the Rank Up Magic Raid, or whatever it is, Rising Rank Up Magic Force, the new one. This is going to recover this, and then YuGiOh is going to recover the other trap. That's the game plan, and this is YuGiOh. YuGiOh's function is to just banish from grave and then recover something back. Raidraptor Call, this is just another extender. Being that every Raidraptor in the deck, except for 2, being YuGiOh and Necrovulture, are all being played at 2 copies or higher, this extender is always pretty much going to be live. There's really never going to be a point where it's not live. Unless you open that and, like, 4 other spells, then, which is possible, I'm not going to lie. But, pretty good card. Swallow's Cowrie. So this is something that we got in, what was it? Was it Phantom Rage? No, Phantom Nightmare. So, Konami, where the hell is the holo for this? Because this thing would be a gorgeous secret rare. This is basically Swallow's Nest, but instead of special summoning the card, you add it to hand. So basically you can actually play around draw with this because you can activate it in the standby phase, in the standby phase, and then add the card, and then you can play out. That way you don't get trolled. So genius on Konami for making it a quick play. However, y'all made it a common, so if we could just rarity bump this, would be great. But you're going to either activate this to search Tribute Lanius, or you're going to activate this to search for the Bloom Vulture. We got a playset of Forbidden Droplet. It is just really nice to have this card either going first or going second because it's very versatile. If you end up having to go second, you can use it to shut down one of your opponent's boss monsters. If you draw it going first, you can set it at the very end of your turn, and you have free negates on board. I said free, not 3. So, I mean, you could technically have 3. I do like this at 2 because if you draw it, it just kind of is good. It's good to draw. It's also good to search. It's good to have 2. I like to play this at the same number of Rising Rebellion Falcon that I'm playing. So, it's just kind of, personal preference. 1 Skip Force. You're going to search this off of the Brave Strix and then get into Arsenal Falcon and kind of combo off from there. Nest would be really, really good if it just flat out said, add a Raidraptor to your hand. But you have to control 2. So it's kind of one of those cards that it's okay to see it, but you don't want to be playing 3 of it. Roost, same deal. Roost, you want to search off a Mimicry and then search the trap, and then kind of play off from there. You don't really want to draw this card because, I mean, it's kind of meh. Called by the Grave. Just a way to, stop a hand trap. And last but not least, the 2 traps. So we have an Omni Negate and we have a Counter Trap. The Counter Trap is a monster negate only, and it requires you to detach a material from your XYZ monster, which honestly isn't going to be hard at all. But it is kind of nice to just have a monster negate and an Omni Negate, and then have, a board wipe, and then basically 3 towers on your board. That is going to be very difficult for your opponent to out if they don't crack the Kaiju, the Super Poly, or the Sphere Mode, because they're probably not going to have an answer to your 5300 attack monster that is unaffected by card effects. And on top of that, you have 2 negates against them the Omni, I typically hold this so that way I make sure my Rise rank up magic resolves, and then I get into Rising Rebellion Falcon. And this is just here to kind of, you could stop your opponent's starter with this. That's typically what I use it for. You know, wait for their good normal summon or their good special summon, crack that, and then, you know, kind of go from there. So guys, that is the main deck. Let's take a look at the extra deck. So we've got here, obviously, we've got our token because, you know, we've got Rising Rebellion Falcon. Now, this is a very interesting card because it has two utilities. One, you summon it out, you destroy your opponent's entire board, and then you burn them for the, I believe it's the combined original attacks of all the monsters. But this also can detach 3 material, target a Raidraptor in the graveyard, and then if it has the detach effect, you should have another XYZ material. You detach it, and then it gains that effect. So this can be Ultimate Falcon. This can be Arsenal Falcon. This can be Force Strix. This can be Brave Strix. This can be anything. So I do like the Final Fortress Falcon. It is something that I play every once in a while. I pull it out because it does get extra attacks. Okay, let me take a read of this. It's been a while since I read this card. Basically, it says it is the same. You know, it's unaffected as long as it has a Raidraptor XYZ as material. And then once return, you can detach one material from this card. Return all your banished Raidraptors to your graveyard. So that is actually solid recovery. I just realized I'm not reading it in front, so you guys are probably like, what are you talking about? But up to twice per turn, when this attacking card is first card, you can banish a Raidraptor Xyz, and then it can attack again. So it is kind of cool to just have that extra, you know, constant attack. I've got 2 Ultimate Falcon. You could probably play this at 1, but I like it at 2. He basically shuts down Nibiru and shuts down hand traps. Once you get to the point where, you know, you get to the point where your opponent cannot respond to you, that's over. You're basically setting up a pretty solid board. Satellite Cannon Falcon, this is something that wipes Backrow, and it is non-respondable. So you get this out, and you wipe your opponent's Backrow. Your opponent cannot respond to it. Pretty niche card, but, you know, all right. Arsenal Falcon, this is the best Raidraptor, in my opinion, in the extra deck next to Rising Falcon, because this is your arsenal, man. This is holding all the burbs, and we got to get all the burbs out. So basically, you summon this out, you link it away, and then you get into this, and then you activate this, and then your opponent can't activate cards. Brave Strix. This is either a Raidraptor Searcher or a Rank Up Magic Searcher all in one. Sadly, we can only use once per turn. It is what it is. Arc Rebellion. This comes in handy, and I kind of really wanted to just fit this dragon in here because I feel like Shay didn't have a dragon in the show. But I feel like, obviously, this was made for him and made for, I think, YuGiOh. But, yeah, this is definitely, you know, both of their dragons. So that's kind of why he's in here. Plus, if it has a Dark Xyz monster as material, it can negate the entire board, and then it gains attack equal to the entire board. So that's actually a pretty neat OTK piece. And then we have the Raider's Knight. You summon this out. You go into Brave search the skip force, you summon this, you link away. It's a whole thing. It's we'll go into it in a minute. We've got Force Strix. This is your extra deck starter because this deck has a lot of moving parts. I don't think that this deck will ever have a normal summon that searches a Raid Raptor that is a level 4, because that would just be broken. This is also not a hard once per turn. So this is a soft once per turn, which is actually pretty cool. And then last but not least, we have Wise Strix, who on summon specials out a monster, and then if you activate a Raidraptor Xyz monster's effect, you can set a rank up magic. So guys, thank you for staying tuned for this. And listen, we're going to go through some combos here, so please stay tuned for that. And if you are a person who likes to check out quick deck profiles, check out the 60-second short of this. Later.